Gallbladder 1 is located very approximately half a cun lateral to the outer canthus of the eye. Palpate laterally to find the lateral orbital margin. Mark your point just on the edge of that orbital margin. Be careful not to move back into this fleshy area because there are other points here. Gallbladder 15 is located at the midpoint between Do24 and stomach 8. It's half a cun into the anterior hairline. To locate gallbladder 20, palpate up the groove in between the sternocleidomastoid and trapezius muscles. As you get to the base of the occiput, you will find a nice depression. Gallbladder 20 is in the centre of that depression. Stomach 2 is located 1 cun inferior to a pupil looking directly forwards. To find this point, you'll need to stand directly in front of the person, palpate inferior to the pupil by about 1 cun, and you should feel a dip, which is the infraorbital foramen. Don't press too hard though, because there's a nerve here and it can be quite tender. To locate Sanjiao 20, press the ear against the side of the head. The point lies directly superior to the apex of the ear on the side of the head. Sanjiao 23 is located towards the lateral end of the eyebrow in a nice dip on the supraorbital margin. If you palpate towards the end of the eyebrow, on most people you'll find there's a nice cleft in the bone. Bladder 1 is located 1 fen medial and superior to the inner canthus of the eye. If a person scrunches up their eyes, a nice depression forms here, and that's where you're going to find bladder 1. Bladder 2 is located in a depression at the medial aspect of the eyebrow. Palpate along the supraorbital margin until you locate a nice dip at the medial end of the eyebrow. That's your bladder 2. Bladder 6 is 2.5 cun into the anterior hairline, 1.5 cun lateral to the anterior midline. Bladder 10 is located 1.3 cun lateral to Do15. It's 4.5 cun from Do15 to the mastoid process. So divide this area into 3 and just come a little closer to the posterior midline. You'll be on the lateral edge of the trapezius muscle. Do20 is located in relation to the midpoint between the glabella and the occiput. Place the heel of your palm on the glabella and the occiput. Fold your fingers around the skull to find the midpoint. Do20 is located 1 cun posterior to that midpoint. It typically lies in a nice dip. There are several other nice dips slightly further back, which are other dew points, so don't be tempted to go further back than 1 sun posterior to that midpoint. Dew 23 is located on the anterior midline, 1 sun posterior to the anterior hairline. We take the distance between the centre of the glabella and the anterior hairline as being 3 sun, so divide this into 3 to get your 1 sun to move back to locate Dew 23.
Large intestine 1 is at the radial nail point of the index finger. I'm going to be looking at the proximal and radial borders, looking and feeling for the flare of the bone, looking at where the nail bed is and putting my point in. Large intestine 4, you're going to find the length of the second metacarpal bone. So running your finger down, finding the base, making sure that you're not actually on the carpal bones themselves, finding the midpoint of that shaft of bone, coming between the first and second metacarpals, nearer to the second than the first in the muscle. Sanjiao 1 on the ulnar nail point of the 4th finger. Going to be feeling for the flare of the bone, looking at where the ulnar and proximal borders meet, looking at the nail bed and putting my point in.
Sanjiao points on the forearm are best located with the arm laying flat on the bed and the elbow turned outwards. To find Sanjiao 5, come 2 sun proximal to Sanjiao 4, in between the radius and the ulna. You should be on the radial side of the tendon of extensor digitorum communis. If the person wiggles their fingers, this tendon will come into relief. Bladder 67 is the lateral nail point of the little toe. Be sure to mark it clear of the nail bed.